suddenly, Igor and friends, we have a totally different picture on Syria.
It's a different story. Yeah.
I was at the White House yesterday at the briefing when this whole thing started to unravel. So we started the day with the big buildup, the full court press, President coming up to the Hill, President going to talk to the American people, President making phone calls, people down at the members of Congress down at the White House, Congress coming back, they're going to debate this and vote for it. The question is, will they get the votes to authorize a military strike? Then suddenly, in the middle of the day, John Kerry is asked a question in London. Is there any way that Syria could avoid getting the hell bombed out of it? And almost in a smart-ass offhand remark, here's John Kerry.
He could turn over every single bit of his chemical weapons to the international community in the next week. Turn it over, all of it, without delay, and allow a full and total accounting for that. But he isn't about to do it, and it can't be done, obviously.
Obviously.
Within hours, this offhand remark, Russia says, hey, we heard what Kerry said. That sounds like a good idea. We'll talk to Damascus. Damascus says, hey, we're open to this. The UN says, hey, we'll come in and take over the weapons and monitor them and make sure that we got them all and that nobody has access to them. And then suddenly the Senate and the House are saying, hey, why should we vote on this? And then the president says, that sounds like a pretty good idea to me. What happened, Igor?
It's remarkable to me. That sequence of events is stunning. After Kerry made those offhand remarks that the White House later said were rhetorical.
Yeah, I was there when they were dismissing it.
Yeah, when they were dismissing it, the Russian foreign minister called Kerry. They talked about it, and Kerry gave an assurance that this is a plan worth looking into. And then he announced it. The Russian foreign minister, Latvov or something, his name, announced it.
Vladimir.
Yeah, well, at the end of the day, announced it at a hastily arranged press conference, pressured Syria to, as you say, he had just before with Charlie Rose said he would neither confirm nor deny the existence of his chemical weapons. Now he says this is something we could consider. And now the latest is that France is going to introduce a resolution in the Security Council to get this show on the road and get everything under an international framework. It's remarkable, and it is just a reminder to me, Putin, for all of my many disagreements with him on almost every issue, is a keen politician. And the fact that he knew that this was the moment to take advantage of and to kind of give this exit ramp to the president, to the Americans, to me speaks a lot to his political skill. There's a lot to be said there that this was arranged because of an opening that they saw.
All right. So what this all means, again, the change of direction in this whole issue is just it really is stunning. I've never seen anything like it.
Gives you whiplash.
But first of all, yeah, it does. It does. One thing we shouldn't forget about by even talking about this, Syria now admits that they have chemical weapons.
For the first time, they're now saying that they have chemical weapons.
Charlie Rose plays his interview with Assad where he still denies he's got them. By the end of the day, they admit they've got them, and they're willing to, well, at least they're willing to talk about turning them over, right? Number one. Number two, you've got to admit this would not have happened if there were not the threat that they would get bombed.
Well,
right?
That was the big argument last night on Crossfire. And I think that there's an argument to be made for that. Absolutely. Certainly, Russia had filibustered every other UN resolution, didn't even want a soft condemnation. But if you look at where this resolution was going in Congress, it was going down. If you look at what John Kerry said, that it was going to be an unbelievably small strike, it's hard to argue, in a sense, that Russians really thought that the strike was a foregone conclusion. I think the odds were really leaning against it.
I could argue that with you. I don't think this would have happened if I think the only reason they're doing this is because they're afraid of a bombing strike and what damage people
that played into it. I agree that played into it. Yes.
All right, now, then the other thing it seems to me that the whole thing means is we've got to recognize, no matter whether it's messy, sloppy, whatever we say about it, this could mean that we will have a diplomatic resolution to this crisis, which in the end would be the best thing.
And that's
right?
really the broader point. 10 years removed, if the Syria conflict doesn't escalate, if there's a diplomatic solution, and this is seen as the origin of that, that's a good thing.
And we get rid of all of
and
their
we get rid of those
weapons.
chemical weapons. At the end of the day, that's all we want. This back and forth and who looks weak and who looks strong,
right.
it's great for today, but it's not going to matter 5-10 years from now if this problem is
All
resolved.
right, and we're going to go to a break here. I'm going to get you involved in the conversation at 866-55-PRESS. But now the big question is, what the hell does President Obama say to the nation tonight?
Well, it's now in the East Room, so the address is less
It's now
of
in the East Room. It's not
less
from
of
the
a
Oval Office. But
big
I mean,
deal,
so,
I guess.
So let's see. He says, I still want to bomb them, but I'm willing to wait until we see what they do with chemical weapons. Or congratulations, John Kerry, you just got us out of a mess.
Everything is on hold until I hear from Vladimir.